The Worst Podcast Ever can also be listened to on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and many more. Links in the description below. Hey everybody, what is going on? Merry Christmas. We are coming up really fast on Christmas. It is the week before, and Merry Christmas to one and all. I am your host, Dan Brosman, as always, and guys, you're listening to the worst podcast ever, and you know what? Maybe coming into this new year, it's going to be the not so horrible, not so worst podcast. I don't know. That kind of sounds like other podcasts out there. But anyway, what's going on, guys? I hope you guys are having an awesome day. I am able to record during the day this time, which I am super excited about. I was going to try last night. Man, I don't know if it's my age, but soon as nighttime hits, I am ready for bed. I just don't have the energy anymore. I came down into the game room and I'm like, well, you know what? Maybe I'm going to have that second win. And I sat down and started playing some games. And about 5 minutes into it, I was like, no, it is definitely not happening. Shut everything down, went upstairs and went to bed. I will do this in the morning. So what's going on? I just got my pre-order for the second go-around of the Analog Pocket. Surprisingly enough, I actually got through. It was a little touch and go there for a second, but it looks like whatever my problem I was having was on my end and not theirs, which is good. But yeah, I ended up getting it. I am super excited. And the one thing that helped is that a lot of the reviews that came out yesterday for the Analog Pocket. And if you're not familiar with what the Analog Pocket is, it is an FPGA handheld that looks a lot like, it has the same size as like a Game Boy, the original Game Boy, at least in width and length, but not thickness. I don't know if that makes any sense. But this went on pre-orders like, 2 years ago? And I think I talked about this where I had a hard time getting through and then I almost got it and then I didn't. And that was basically what a lot of people were having troubles with. And a lot of people were complained about how they got all the way to the end and then it seemed like they got hung up and then they didn't get their pre-order in. And of course, then the scalpers that were able to get it, were throwing their pre-orders up online and eBay for like crazy money, because along with everything, they're the people that have to ruin it for everybody else. But, but this time, whatever they used, whatever process they used seemed to work a lot better than the time before. It seemed to have everybody in line and everything organized. And this is what I'm talking about. When I was talking about last episode with Fandango and all these other websites crashing, trying to get the pre-order tickets for Spider-Man. Analog had this massive, but like just this major breakdown when those first pre-orders went out, right? Or went live like 2 years ago. And now they did get a lot of heat from a lot of people in the community, but they ended up doing something about it, which is great. And Analog's not as big as a company as like Fandango or AMC and a lot of these other ones. So, to those guys out there that are with Fandango and AMC and any of these other websites that had issues when all these people tried to get the pre-order tickets for Spider-Man, the new Spider-Man movie, might want to take a lesson, because if these guys could do it, you guys could do it. Anyway, that being said, moving past it, I'm really excited because all of the reviews came out basically yesterday and the day before, it seemed like. So I don't know if there was like an embargo or something saying, hey, you guys can't release your stuff. Or maybe this is just when everybody happened to get their pockets around the same time. Because I know a lot of the normal people just got their pockets in. Because this was supposed to come out a while ago, I want to say, and it was delayed, and we all know why it was delayed. It's delayed for the same reasons that everything else has been delayed. Heck, I can't even get jeans, man. I've been trying to get these kind of jeans that I love, and I haven't been able to find them until I went on Amazon. Amazon seems to be the only ones not having an issue with getting you your stuff, at least in my experience. Anyway, so yay for me. I get the pocket, the analog pocket, at some point. And, you know, I really, really looking forward to it. I mean, it plays, Game Boy games, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, and then you can get adapters to play, and I might get this wrong, I want to say Neo Geo Pocket, Game Gear, and isn't there like a TurboGrafx one too? I don't know. But anyway, yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. All the reviews that I've seen so far of this thing seems to suggest that it is what it set out to be. Now, it is pricey. I'm definitely going to have some buyer's remorse here for a while on this one. And boy, this last week when I found out that they were gonna do another round of pre-orders here, boy, I did some soul searching here. But the way my collecting and my video gaming has gone lately, there's not going to be too many of these purchases left. Maybe just one more, because they are coming out with the Turbo Dual, which is, you know, TurboGrafx and the CD player all together, the Hue card player and the CD. And I don't know when that's coming out, and I'm not even sure they really know yet. But yeah, this was kind of a hard pill to swallow, and it's going to be one of the last big purchases I make. I've really been in the last like 2-3 months, I've really been going through my game room going, okay, going forward, how am I as a gamer and as a collector what am I going to do here? You know, what am I going for? What am I willing to spend? And I've never shied away from spending a large sum of money if it's worth it and if I've had time to save for it. But at the same time, too, I just don't throw my money away. It's just over anything. I gotta have a good reason going forward for it. And, you know, I think this year, and I know I'm kind of going off topic here and kind of rambling here a little bit, but I think going forward this year, I'm really, after the first of the year, I'm really going to put a kibosh to buying gaming things this coming year, I think. Not 100%, but, you know, the budget's going to be cut way down. Namely because, look, man, I got a backlog a mile long. I got games here. If I started playing these games now, until the day I die, I still want to be done playing all these games. You know, first world problems or whatever they say. Isn't that first class problems or whatever they say? High class problems. I mean, that's definitely what that is. But, so yeah, I think I'm going to definitely take a little bit of a backseat. I'm going to continue to buy Xbox 360 games and PlayStation 3 because that's really what I've really been on the kick lately. And I just refuse to go back on to limited run games. I mean, they keep sending me emails, and I click, I delete them right away because I'm like, I don't want to know. I don't want to know because those guys took so much of my money this year. I mean, I must have bought, I don't know. Like 5 or 6 games. But still, it adds up after time. So I was like, you know what? I'm sure there's stuff out there. And I didn't even pre-order that the Switch remake of Knights of the Old Republic. I was like, no, I'm out. I keep thinking about it. I really do keep thinking about it. I'm like, dude. And I'm like, no, dude. Nope. I think we're out. I think we're done. So, yeah, going forward, I know last year I had to talk about, this year and where I wanted to be as far as collecting and playing games and, and whether or not I really held to that, which I probably didn't, because I'm trying to remember. I know I wanted to play games and finish them or whatever, but I'm not really sure that I stuck to any plans that I had this year. Yeah, anyway, so, going forward, that's where I'm at with that. And that kind of leads into the next thing. And we're going to get to the main topics. We're going to go over the main topics that we're going to talk about here. But this is just a little housekeeping here. But I made the plunge into some EverDrives here. And if you've seen my video on my YouTube channel, you know what I'm talking about. But if not, and you're just listening here, the one thing that I've really been noticing, obviously everyone's been noticing, but really been mulling over in my head is, the prices of everything. And especially after I got back from Milwaukee, from the Midwest Gaming Classic, and how expensive everything was there, namely cartridges, and where that put me, what mind frame that put me in when I was thinking about, as far as a collector. Because look, I can play any of these games, either which way. I have a Raspberry Pi, and now I have these EverDrives. There's a million ways to play them, and even Nintendo keeps regurgitating these games if you want them, whether it's the kind of virtual store or the mini, which I don't even know if you can find anymore. But yeah, it really started getting me thinking. And I'd be lying if I said that my mind wasn't already there with other systems. The GameCube is another one. The Dreamcast, which I just bought this year, and I had no idea that those games were so expensive. I am waiting for my Polymega to show up, because I got the TurboGrafx Hue card player, but those games are expensive. I have like 4 of those games. And after I just got done saying that I'm going to play the Turbo Dual, or want to buy the Turbo Dual, but the thing with the Turbo Dual is I can take and get an EverDrive for that, and that'll play my games off of there. But look, we say backup games, but are they really our backup games? Obviously, I don't have that many games. I can't afford those games. Obviously, the secondary market is just crazy. And, this was already kind of happening with a lot of these systems before the pandemic even hit. The amount of pricing going up and up and up. So it's a little bit of a bummer. And like I said, if I stop buying games today, I'm going to be okay. I'm standing here kind of complaining a little bit and trying to get a little down on it, but it's not a big deal. I'm going to be okay. And chances are the rest of you that are listening, you're going to be okay too. Because some of you guys I know have more games than you know what to do with. So, and that's fine. That's cool. I mean, but it is what it is, you know? I mean, the prices go up and you're just not going to be able to buy as much, you know? And that's okay. And now maybe you just are a little bit pickier about what you buy. What do you really want to buy? What do you really want to play? And that's, I think for a lot of people, that's where we're at right now, especially the collectors of the old stuff, of a lot of the retro stuff. So anyway, yeah. So I bought these EverDrives and I'm loving them. And I actually just ordered, and it's supposed to come in on Friday, the Mega EverDrive Pro, which is for the Sega Genesis, and it plays Sega CD. And I was going back and forth between that and the Terra Onion Mega CD, but the Mega CD it's like $70 more, and it does the same thing, maybe a little bit better. But anything I seen online was just like they're basically the same. So I was like, well, this is the last thing. And then this is going to get me probably through the year, you know? And so, I mean, that's where we're going to be. Because y'all know I'm not looking to buy the new PlayStation 5 or the Xbox Series X. Are those new anymore? Are we saying that they're new? I mean, they've been out over a year now. I mean, I guess it's still new. But I haven't even been looking for those. So, but the EverDrives, I'm loving them. Bought the EverDrive N8, not the Pro, for the Nintendo, and then I got the FX Pack Pro for the Super Nintendo, and then I have the Sega Genesis one coming. And the Sega Genesis one, I believe, also plays Master System games, and I believe Game Gear games as well. And the FX Pack Pro also does, I want to say, Game Boy games, and maybe Game Boy Advance. So, I mean, I have a lot to play around with, which is great. So this year, you know, even with me cutting down on what I'm going to be purchasing, like a lot, I'm still going to have like a tremendous amount of stuff to play around with, which is awesome. So what are we going to talk about today? What are we going to talk about? There's a lot of small stuff that I want to go over here. Nothing huge, but Star Wars Eclipse. What is that? Have you heard of this? Well, we're going to talk about that because I didn't hear anything about this until a trailer dropped for this. Spider-Man No Way Home comes out this Thursday. So this is Tuesday that I'm recording this. So yeah, in a couple days, this comes out. I want to go over something here, which is a lot of people that are comic book fans and fans of these movies, you know, want to talk about, you know, the Marvel Cinematic Universe and maybe where the X-Men are going to come into this. And are they going to come into that universe, and should they come into the universe? And I've been hearing some debates on this for about the last 5-6 months. So, and I was in the car the other day in the truck, and I was like, you know what? And I came up with a great idea, and we're going to go over that here in a minute. And then let's talk about our favorite Christmas gaming moments. And I have a few, you know. I mean, who doesn't have those moments to where they opened up that one thing that they wanted more than anything else underneath the tree, and then maybe looked like a jackass on, you know, home video? Guilty as charged. It's somewhere out there. I don't know where that tape is, but it's somewhere. And then this hasn't been officially announced, but I guess Netflix is doing a Mega Man live action movie. So we're going to talk about that. Not really a lot to talk about really on that yet, but yeah. So that's what's going on. So, you know, going through YouTube as you do, and you know, wasting time, a trailer came up for this game called Star Wars Eclipse, and I had never heard of this at all. And then, like, it's all of a sudden like blickety blam, and you know, of course, what they showed was a lot of, you know, just cinematic clips and not really gameplay. So we really don't know what this game's about because they really haven't released too much, even when I went on the website. But what the trailer did show, man, my love-hate relationship lately with Star Wars is just, you never know when something comes out or something's presented how I'm going to react. But every now and again, something comes out or something shows that just gets me so excited and so interested. And this is one of them. This is definitely one of them. It had me hooked. Now, I don't know a lot about this game because I went on their website and I'm like, well, what is this? And this is the way they described it. This is exactly from them. And it's an action-adventure, multi-character, branching narrative set in the High Republic era. Okay? What does that mean? I don't know. I mean, they still have their MMO game going on, Knights of the Old Republic, or whatever that is, and that's still going strong from everything that I've seen. I played that from minute one, but yeah, hold on here, guys. I just noticed I didn't have my headphones on. I'm like, why is everything so quiet? And I'm like, I don't have my headphones on. Hold on. There we go. I'm like, I can hear myself. Now my Santa hat's all messed up. Okay. I'm like, well, it only took me, half hour to figure that out. Do I look beautiful? Okay. Where was I? Oh, yeah. Yeah, so it's not really showing too much of what this actually is. And even they said it's an early development. But, I mean, what does early development mean? I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. Do you know? No. No one knows. Only they know. And it says it's taken place in the High Republic era. Now, I want to say it's in being produced right now. There's going to be like a High Republic show that's coming to Disney Plus here at some point. So that was the first time I'd heard about the High Republic, and I guess this has been in books already. And I don't read the books necessarily. I just don't. Sometimes I feel like I should. I just don't want to go down that rabbit hole, and that's just me. But so I wanted to make sure that I looked into this. I'm like, because what is the High Republic? Because I kind of had a little bit of an idea. So here's what the High Republic is. It's the golden era of the Republic and the Jedi. So this is like when the Republic and the Jedi were at their utmost best. Because you remember, if you go back to, the Sith War, which was like 3,000 years before, it was like, what was it? I think it was Knights of the Old Republic. And the MMO is the one where the Sith War is going on. So the MMO game that's going on right now is the Sith War. And after that got over with, there was a period of time between sometime after that got over and when basically the Phantom Menace came around, to where it was peaceful in the Republic. There wasn't like huge wars like that. There was conflicts here and there, but nothing on the scale of that or of the Civil War in the original trilogy movies, with Luke Skywalker and in the original cast. And in this time, the Jedi were kind of a different organization. They were very much more liberal in their beliefs. Because when we come into it in the Phantom Menace, the Jedi are kind of portrayed as very stringent in what they believe in and what they follow. And in whether or not that's what George Lucas was trying to do, they kind of come off as naive in the point there too. Because, I mean, and I've talked about this before in Revenge of the Sith. All of a sudden Mace Windu says, I feel the dark side here. The dark side surrounds the Chancellor. All of a sudden it's like, oh, I just realized this. And it was in their inability to be flexible and not, abide by their guidelines and their principles that I think was the downfall of the Jedi in the end. But supposedly here in the High era, or the High Republic era, there are Jedi that are in the Order that are actually not in the Order, that kind of believe in different things. That there was a Jedi with many more different roles, from what I understand. And this is me checking it out. So basically, the High Republic is around 200 years before the Phantom Menace. That's really the era, because after that, there was kind of a decline in the Republic and the Jedi. So by the time we see them in the Phantom Menace, there has been a decline, because you see the bureaucracy in the Republic and the problem with that, and the way the Jedi are barely hanging on. Not necessarily gone, but definitely already having problems. And it also said that there was this time where it was peaceful for around 800 years, where it was, so it's about an 800-year gap in there, to where the Republic and the Jedi really, really were at the top there, which is a long time. It's not a millennium, but that's close. The millennium's what, like 1,000 years, so 800 years. So at the Sith War, between then and then, obviously nothing's 100% great right off the bat. Things have to be rebuilt after that war, and then of course, maybe 800 years. That's a good run right there. Really, that's a good run. You get 800 years of peace and just things going good. And one of the things that I found really interesting in this, and I know we're kind of going off topic here because we're supposed to be talking about the game, but really, they didn't give us a lot of information on the game. So we're going to talk about the High Era, or the High Republic. But one of the interesting things that I found was that I just forgot what I was going to say. Yeah, it's gone. There was a big lead up to it, and then I got to the top of the mountain, and I'm just like, where'd it go? What the hell was I gonna say? I don't know. Oh, I was gonna say that there was, a bunch of different things that the Jedi could do. Where, I think that's what I was gonna say. Whatever. Jeez, whatever. But when we come into it, you have guardians and counselors and stuff like that. I think there was 3 or 4 different categories that you could have of different Jedi. And in this one, there was healers in the High Republic, and just I can't remember what they said. I should have written it down, but there was just a whole bunch. So it looks like it's going to be very interesting, because there's only so much. We've already done, the battles between the good and bad, the Sith and the Jedi. There's got to be more than that. And there is, and it's coming. So that's where this game's going to be, somewhere in there. We don't know what it's going to be. Is it going to be an, real-time strategy? Is it going to be an action RPG? I don't know. We don't know what this game's going to be. So, but it looks good, and I'm somewhat excited for it. Now the problem is I've sworn off pretty much modern gaming, so I'm going to have to figure out a way to get my hands on this and actually play it. But yeah, it's something to look forward to, and I hope it's good because like I said, I anything that comes out good for Star Wars, I'm in. I'm a sucker for. Yeah. So, Spider-Man: No Way Home comes out this Thursday night, and you know if you follow a lot of the movie scene and the people they're interested in like the MCU, you'll know that there's always talk about, okay, now that the mutants, the X-Men, are part of Disney, how are they gonna to put them in to the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Because why not? Why wouldn't you do it? Well, there's reasons. And I think, and people go back and forth. They're saying, hey, the snap, and that was what kind of brings mutants about, which isn't a bad idea. That's totally a great idea. And that's kind of go into what I got to say here. But, there's also the question of, hey, do they need to be in the MCU? Because if you're going to do this, I think we're getting close to the point to where the X-Men are ready to be reboot. And nothing against all the other stuff, but we've kind of been going along here. Logan was kind of the end of that. With Wolverine and Charles Xavier. I mean, I know we've gone back with the younger versions of all these guys, but I mean, I'm kind of getting the feeling that all of that stuff has kind of run its course. Really. Great movies. There isn't. I love all those movies. I even like Wolverine, the origin stories of him. I loved Days of Future Past. I loved Apocalypse. I know a lot of people weren't about that. I really liked the Phoenix. Was it the Phoenix or the Rising of the Phoenix or something like that? At any rate, I just feel like, especially with that last one, with the Rise of the Phoenix or the Phoenix or whatever it was, that this is over. That it's run its course. I mean, I think you've done all you really can with it. So what do you do now? Do you just let it sit? Well, people aren't going to let it sit because that's money not being made. Disney's not going to just let this sit. So how do you bring them into the MCU? Well, I don't think that you have to. And I say that because they are two vastly different universes. The MCU is kind of that, they made that kind of that cookie cutter, a little bit of a cookie cutter universe. And I know that's what a lot of people knock them for. And it's something that I actually makes me like the MCU the most. But how do you bring that in? Because, where maybe the MCU is not nearly as controversial as maybe what goes on in the X-Men. I mean, I guess in what happened after the snap and everything that's come after that has been dealt with that a little bit. But I mean, it's a different feel. And if you've watched these movies, you know what I mean. It doesn't feel the same. And how do you fit now all of that in with what's going on in Marvel? I'm not sure that you want to, because you already have a lot going on. But if you're not going to make individual movies separate universes, here's what you do. And I'm pretty proud of this. Whether or not people agree with me, hey, it is what it is. Okay. So now that everything happened with Thanos, the snap, and then everyone came back, okay? And we've had shows now since then dealing with it. We had WandaVision, which actually had scenes in there that showed everyone coming back from the snap, which was really interesting. We had the kind of the way the world is and the politics with after the snap when everyone came back with the Falcon and Winter Soldier, which they didn't really touch on it too much, but I mean, you got to feel that like everything wasn't hunky-dory. Although the way they portrayed it in there, you know, they talked about how bad it was, but it didn't look all that bad. So I think they could have shown it a little bit more of the dark side of that. Whatever. And then you have, you know, Hawkeye now, which, you know, they're really not showing too much of any of that. Like, everything seems to be back to normal. Okay. So, I'm not really sure what's going to be going on Earth with the MCU. But, I mean, you still have Spider-Man, you have Doctor Strange now, Thor's out there somewhere, the Guardians of the Galaxy really don't have superpowers, okay? And that's kind of where I'm going with this. I mean, you still had the Falcon and the Winter Soldier out there, but I mean, you know, I've heard that the MCU is oversaturated, but really it's coming down. Well, I guess you have Wanda and then Vision, and Vision's out there somewhere. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with that. But here's where my theory comes into it. You don't have the mutants come in right now, as far as the timeline goes. Because I think it would just be too difficult and just too much to throw them in with the MCU as it is right now. Here's what you do. You say that mutants came around because of the snap. Okay? Something happened to the people that disappeared and then came back. Something was changed in their DNA. Maybe like a dormant gene was activated. Okay? But powers didn't come about right off the bat. Okay? So now let's say you go ahead, I don't know, 60 years. So the first X-Men reboot movie opens up and it says 60 years later. Okay? But in the credits, you have, you know, you can have a collage of what happened in between the timeline that we know at the end of like all the Avengers stuff to this 60 years later, the people coming back, and then all of a sudden, you know, those people that came back starting to have kids, reproducing, and those kids starting to have some sort of powers or whatever, because now this stuff is being sent forward here. Do you know what I'm saying? Where people are reproducing and now their offspring, those genes are more prevalent, and now they're starting to get powers already. And in the meantime, you could say, well, you know, all these superheroes that were around pretty much around the time of the Avengers have kind of all gone away. You know, you don't have Spider-Man anymore because evidently he's gone. I mean, it's 60 years later, so obviously he's gone. Doctor Strange is gone, but I mean, you know, you could always, I mean, that's just an order. You always have the order, the Wizards, so maybe those guys are still around. But you're not going to have, you know, I don't know, wherever Thor's going to be, but you don't even have to have him back around. You could have it to where Earth and all these superheroes kind of trailed away, and now you're starting to see this uptick in people with powers because of this mutant gene. And I think, to me, that's what makes sense. I don't know how that would translate into a movie, but I think it's a good starting point, a good premise for if you want to keep it in the same universe, but not have it overlap and try to have those two things interact, you know, have like the superheroes of now interact together with these guys, because it's just too much. It's just too much. At least in my eyes, it is. Because the one thing that we do know is the MCU likes to carry a timeline and have everything congruent. You know what I'm saying? Everything goes along with everything else. As has gone along, the X-Men universe has not done that. And for some reason, that's one of the things I thought would bother me the most, but it doesn't bother me at all. You know, where these stories, maybe the timelines or what happened and who's doing what, don't from movie to movie don't necessarily jive with one another, but it doesn't matter. At this point, no one gives a shit. And it's because the movies are entertaining. But if you're going to bring them in an MCU, I don't think you're going to be able to do that. You're going to have a go along. You're going to have where the reasons make sense. And that's the one thing that I love about the MCU. I love that when they keep the same actors playing the same people, it just fits in my mind so neatly. But I don't know. And then where you go from there, I don't really know. But I'm just saying, you can have a break in between. It could be the same universe, but have a break. You know, there wasn't all these superheroes for a long time on Earth. It was just that short amount of time that there was. You put in 60 years. Say, hey, you know, the snap activated a dormant gene that's in all people. But it was just the people that came back from the snap. You know, everybody has it, but the snap's the one that brought it out of the people that went away. That activated it. You know, I mean, I don't know how the science is behind that. But, I mean, we're talking about superhero movies, so does the science really make a difference at a certain point? Probably not. So, all right. Well, I'm done rambling. Let's really quick talk about this live-action Mega Man movie that's coming out. As I say it, I wrote this. I wasn't even going to talk about it because there's not a lot out there about this yet. Because technically, Netflix hasn't even announced this yet. But, you know, I mean, as things do, they get leaked. And it's in very early development, I guess. And what I just told you is all we know. But I think it's interesting. Because I had two reactions to this. I had my initial reaction was like, man, that's so cool. I'm like, no kidding. I'm like, huh. And then as time went on, I kept thinking about it. I'm like, are we going to talk about this? And I'm like, I don't know how this is going to work. You know, we all know that video game movies are you just cross your fingers and hope and pray that they're going to be good. Or at the very least, they're just not going to suck ass. Because God knows that we have plenty of those movies going. You know, look, I'm a big believer in one thing. And the guy that I follow, John Campia, that with his YouTube channel about movies and all that, he said he says something that always rings true to me now. And he always says that especially when it's like superhero movies, when there is already source material. And in this case, you know, it's a video game, so there's source material. That sometimes doing an exact adaptation doesn't really work. And that it doesn't need to be an exact adaptation of what's in a video game or a comic book or in a book. But what they do need, that doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be. What they have to do is make the best movie possible, because then it's not going to matter. I mean, look at the comics. Do they look at the MCU? Do they follow the comics to a T? No, of course they don't. The Harry Potter movies, do they follow the books 100%? No, of course they don't. It would be very hard to do that. And in some cases, there's no need to do that. And now I will say, in most of these cases, a lot of people aren't reading all the comics. They're not reading all the books. Your average cinema goer is just like me. You know, where I kind of know that there's books and there's comics. Well, I don't kind of know. I know, but I'm not familiar with what's within them, but I do enjoy the movies. So I just it's going to be interesting where they go with this, with the Mega Man live action, because I don't really know that you need a Mega Man live action. Because, with that Mario movie that they're going to come out, the Mario Brothers movie, that's going to be animated. So it's like, is this going to be animated? But it says live action. I don't know. That might be kind of freaky, but I don't know. We're just going to have to wait and see. It's going to be very, very interesting to see what they come up with. So, and that's all I wanted to talk about with that. But I will say, to put it in with this topic, a video game movie that was really good was the original Sonic. I love the original Sonic, and it just so happens that Sonic 2, the trailer just dropped the other day. And I am looking so much forward to this. Oh my God. It comes out April 8th, I believe, of this coming year. And it looks wonderful. I loved the first one. Is the first one a masterpiece? No, it's not a masterpiece. It's not meant to be. But it is a wonderful movie that is very enjoyable to watch, and you have a good time. It's the movie where I sit there and eat my popcorn and my box of dots and my Dr. Pepper and just enjoy it from beginning to end. And that's what the movie experience should be, and I'm really, really looking forward to it. I mean, they got Jim Carrey coming back. It's Dr. Robotnik, who just nailed that role down, and he's coming back with the look. He's going to have the look this time, which is so exciting. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm not overly excited about it, but I'm like, I'm going to see it. I will be there with my big old bucket of popcorn with melted butter on it, looking to get fat while I watch Sonic 2 in April. So, yeah, a little something to look forward to. All right, guys. Well, obviously it's Christmas. We got a little bit less than 2 weeks to go, and it's going to be that time, which is awesome. I love Christmas. And I was just thinking, I always think about, especially having a young son here who, on Christmas morning, you come downstairs and see what Santa's left you. And what I know that Santa will be bringing him maybe this year. And, it might be some games. It might be some games for the Switch. I know he's asked for them. And it got me going back on a lot of what I grew up with getting for Christmas was video games. And in the beginning, it was games for my Intellivision 2. Yep, I'm that old. I am old school. Not the Atari. I didn't have Atari 2600. My cousins did. Always wanted an Atari 2600, but now when I look back, I enjoyed Intellivision more than I did Atari, and that's true to today as well. But so let's let's talk about this, because I just want to go over some of my fondest memories here. So probably the one that family members that were there love to bring up is the year I got my original Game Boy, which unfortunately I don't have anymore. I traded for an Atari Lynx at one point, and then that Atari Lynx ended up underwater in a basement. So, woe is me. But I did have it, and I had 3 games. I had Tetris, Super Mario Land, and Mega Man. The original one on there. And I just remember there's video of this. No, I am not going to put it up on YouTube. I don't even know where it's at, to be honest with you. I'd put it up on YouTube. I don't care. Of me just losing my shit opening up this thing, which is funny because I don't remember me back in the day like hardcore wanting the Game Boy. I thought it would be something else. But yes, so when you see those kids losing it, on those videos on YouTube. Yes, that was me. That was me with the Game Boy. Oddly enough, I don't know why. And the Game Boy wasn't even that great. Well, you know what? You know what it was at the time? Because up until that point, what I would get for Christmas, and this goes along with gaming too, are like a lot of those Tiger handhelds. Because when I was growing up, we would go down to Florida every other year. Now, I'm in the Chicagoland area, so I'm pretty much North Illinois. So we would drive down to Florida. And my grandparents lived up in Wisconsin, in the northern Wisconsin. So once or twice a year, we drive up there. And it would be in the back of a Buick Regal a lot of times, which, ugh. And then we got a van later on. But anyway, those are long drives. And what I would have is either you were doing Mad Libs, which would not even get you out of the state as far as keeping your interest. What I would do is, do these Tiger handheld games. And if any of you have played these Tiger handheld games, you know that these things are just the worst. But it's what we had at the time. That was as good as it got for the normal, average, everyday Joe kid. I mean, that's it. And actually, hold on here. I'm going to grab one of them that I got because I have two of these things. Hold on. Okay. So we all remember, like, if you remember the Tiger handhelds, you remember that they're, about this big, now I know this isn't good for audio, but if you're watching the video version of this, which you can now, it's on YouTube, and I'm going to show this to you guys, obviously if you're listening, your SOL, but this is another, I think Tiger made this. Yeah, Tiger. And look at the size of this thing. And look at the screen. This big thing for just that little screen. And this is the football one, I believe. Yeah, it's a football. And I should do a video on these one time. One works, one doesn't. I have the football and I have the baseball. And these are the original, what I got. And I played the hell out of these things. So when I guess now that it does make sense at my reaction to when I got that damn Game Boy, because it was an actual, like, playing real video games on there. And these things, as much as they were fun and I enjoyed these at the time, they are nowhere close to the Game Boy. I mean, kids today don't understand how good they have it. I mean, literally, kids, look at, this is what you got. What I had, okay? I'm only 43. It wasn't that long ago. Give me a break here. And now they have, phones with games on there that make this thing look, like a pocket watch here. So, anyway. So, moving along. One of the things that I got that was the greatest was my Sega CD. I love the Sega CD. Have I told you that? I love my 3DO, but I love my Sega CD. And I loved having it at the time because there was full motion video on it, and the CD quality audio and music. I mean, come on. It was so great, and it was the version 2. So it's the one with the pop-up lid, which is the more reliable one. The original one that sat underneath, you put the original Sega Genesis on top, and then that would sit underneath with the tray that came out automatically. Those I like to break a lot. And anyway, I can remember playing Sewer Shark for every night till the wee hours of the morning, just every day for the rest of Christmas break. And I remember one time my mom coming and pounding on my bedroom door saying, "It is 4:00 in the morning. Put that thing away and go to bed." I don't know why. Where am I going? It's Christmas break. We're not going anywhere, but I mean, I guess you got to be a mom. So, and I just love that thing. I still have it. It's hooked up over here. Yeah, I mean, as time has shown, it wasn't a great system, but I mean, it was, what it was I don't know. It wasn't bad to me. That is more nostalgic than anything. And, I mean, whatever. And it was just not for Christmas, but, a lot of other kids didn't have it. So I felt like I had the one up now. Now everybody, I mean, there's nothing coming out that's unique that nobody has. I mean, even the new systems where everyone doesn't have it, I mean, that's not so unique. I mean, you went from cartridges to CD, and not everybody had CD. So at that time, the video game industry was still not normalized yet. Not really. Now it kind of is. You got your progressions of gaming consoles and so on and so forth, but not so much back then. So I was the shit with the Sega CD, okay? I was pretty hot stuff. Yeah, not really. So, and then the other thing was when I first got my own first computer, and I loved Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego. Ooh, hold on here. Let me take a drink here. And that was, I know that came out on other systems, but I'm talking about the PC game, where it would come with a booklet, not a manual, but a booklet, and it would have like the guys that you were looking for, and you would go to each place and you would get a clue. Like if you kept going to the right place, you get another clue, and then you'd have to thumb through the book and you'd have to say, oh, okay, so this and this person shared this trait, and then you would whittle it down as you got more evidence, right? And then eventually you would say, hey, I want to issue a warrant for this person. I think it's this person. And then if you were right, there would be like little people that come on the screen and that would find this guy and arrest him. And if you weren't, then I don't remember what happened if you were wrong. I don't remember. But anyway, it's a wonderful game. And, I don't see a lot of this game name getting tossed around, because there was two that were very similar at the time. There was Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego, and Where in the U.S., I want to say, is Carmen Sandiego. So one was the U.S. and one was the world. Both of them were pretty much the same, and it was more meant to be like a educational game for kids. But I really enjoyed playing it because there was a certain little charm to it. And I remember the first time I seen it, I was at my cousin's for Christmas, and they had it. And I said, I really like this game, and I don't know for the life of me what I ever did with it, because I don't have it in any of my boxes. So that might have been a casualty of a move at some point, which is too bad. But yeah, if they want to, that'd be cool if they did a remake of it. I know there's other ways to play it, maybe DOSBox, but yeah. So who knows? Maybe I'll get something cool this year. Now I don't get. Shit. Look, look at this. I buy cool stuff all year long. So I'm pretty much. This is my childhood here. This is my childhood gone awry here. This whole area that I'm standing in right now. So this is my Christmas here. Now I get to see my son enjoy Christmas. All right, guys. Well, that's where we're gonna stick a pin in it, stick a fork in it, say we're done. It's been a journey here in 2021. Geez, got COVID this year, early on in the year, and just it's been a trip. 2020 was a shit show, but 2021, it's been better, but not by a lot. So here's the hoping that 2022 is better for all of us, and I hope that 2021 was better for you guys. I know last year, people were stuck inside, and now it seems like more and more we're able to get out, which is great. And hopefully, I would like to think that this is all going to be put behind us by the time we're here again doing our end of year show next year, but probably not. This is going to be something that's going to be with us for a while. But Hopefully that all of you and your family and your friends stay safe, especially through the holidays. I love all of you guys. This is probably going to be the final episode for this year. I will see you at the beginning of next year when everything is fresh and new and we're all going to get trim and fit. And who are we kidding? But who cares? All right, guys. This is Dan Brosman saying have a Merry Christmas. And until I see you next time, good night and goodbye.
Hey, kids. I heard on the news that an airline pilot spotted Santa's sled on its way in from New York.
You serious, Clark?